Jake makes $54,000 a year. He wakes up at 7, he commutes 40 minutes, he sits at a desk for 8 hours, he commutes back, he eats dinner, he goes to sleep, and he does it again tomorrow. But Jake has a secret. While his coworkers spend their evenings watching Netflix and scrolling social media, Jake is doing something completely different. Jake is investing like a venture capitalist, not with millions of dollars, not with connections or an Ivy League MBA, but with the same strategies, the same mindset, and the same actual investment vehicles that the wealthiest investors in the world use to build generational wealth. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how he does it. Stay with me, because the investing world that was once reserved exclusively for the ultra wealthy has been cracked open. And ordinary Americans with ordinary salaries can now access opportunities that did not exist just 5 years ago. First, let us talk about what venture capital actually is. Venture capital is money invested in early stage companies, startups, in exchange for ownership, equity in that company. You give a young company money when it is worth almost nothing. And if that company grows into something huge, your small investment becomes worth an enormous amount. This is how the earliest investors in Apple, Amazon, Google, and Uber made fortunes. They did not buy stock after those companies were already worth billions. They invested when those companies were tiny and desperate for cash. The problem here for ordinary Americans has always been access. Venture capital was only available to accredited investors, people with a net worth over $1 million. The system was designed to keep regular people out, and for decades it worked. But in 2012, Congress passed the Jobs Act. And in 2016, the SEC implemented equity crowdfunding regulations that changed everything. For the first time in American history, ordinary people making $54,000 a year like Jake, could legally invest in early stage startups for as little as $100. The door that had been locked for a century was suddenly open. Now let us talk about exactly how Jake uses this. Jake uses 4 specific strategies to invest like a venture capitalist on a 9-to-5 salary. Strategy 1, equity crowdfunding platforms. Platforms like Republic, WeFunder, and StartEngine allow ordinary Americans to invest in startups for as little as $100. These are real equity investments, not donations. Actual ownership stakes in early stage companies. Jake puts $100 to $500 into 3 to 5 startups per year. He knows most will fail. Venture capitalists expect that too. The strategy works because the 1 or 2 that succeed can return 10 times, 50 times, even 100 times the original investment. $100 in the next big startup could become $10,000. Strategy 2, index funds that capture venture capital winners. When a venture-backed startup goes public through an IPO, it joins the stock market. And if you own a broad index fund like the S&P 500, you automatically become an owner. Jake maximizes his index fund contributions for this exact reason. The next Amazon, the next Google, the next Tesla will eventually end up in his index fund, and he will own a piece of it. Without picking winners, without timing the market, and without paying a fund manager. Strategy 3, pre-IPO investing. Platforms like Linkto and EquityZen now allow ordinary investors to buy shares in late-stage private companies. Companies heading toward an IPO but not yet public. The risk is lower than pure startup investing, and the potential return is still enormous. Jake puts a small allocation here every year, targeting companies in sectors he understands. Strategy 4, real estate crowdfunding. Platforms like Fundrise allow ordinary Americans to invest in real estate for as little as $10. Jake puts money here every month, not to get rich overnight, but to build passive income that grows quietly in the background while he is at his desk. Now let us talk about what you can do starting today. Step 1, open an account on Republic or WeFunder today. Spend 30 minutes browsing available investments. You do not need to invest anything yet. Just learn what is available. Step 2, if you do not have an index fund, open a brokerage account and start a monthly automatic investment into an S&P 500 index fund, even $50 a month. Step 3, open a Fundrise account with $10 and start learning how real estate crowdfunding works. Step 4, spend 30 minutes per week reading about investing, not stock tips, not crypto predictions, fundamental investing education. Books like The Intelligent Investor or 0 to 1 will give you the framework venture capitalists use to evaluate every opportunity. Here's the bottom line. For most of American history, the most powerful wealth building strategies were locked behind a door only the ultra wealthy could open. That door is open now. The platforms exist. The regulations allow it. The minimum investments are accessible to anyone with $100 and the willingness to learn. Jake is not special. He does not have connections. He did not inherit money. He just learned that the game existed, figured out the rules, and started playing. You now know the game exists. You now know the rules. The only question is whether you are going to start playing. You have been decoded. If this video showed you an investing world you did not know existed, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004. Because every single week, we decode the wealth building strategies ordinary Americans are never shown. Simply, honestly, and clearly. Drop a comment below and tell me, did you know any of these investing options existed before this video? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.